What's good, family? It's Friday, and hope y'all had a good week. Trying to see if got a small talk today. Try not to keep too much of your time because I know you're probably doing something really productive right now. Friday's a special night, so I'm gonna make it quick. And of course, the subject is right here, which is a technical approach to this because a lot of guys are not doing it, but a lot of guys are really literally giving free game and free dick out to these women, and they think it's okay or somehow, some way going to yield benefits for them. Outside of sex, it really has no substance, and I'm going to explain it to you because there are a lot of guys who would love to consider themselves to be friends of these women, and so you become friends with her, and what you essentially start doing is that if you got some game, if you got some knowledge, if you have something of substance that's worth receiving, a woman's going to take it. And that's just how it is. If you got something to give and you're willing to give it, whether that's your kindness, whether that's your money, whether that's the sharing of your resources, whether that's your sex, because I did put no free dick in there as well too, because of course if you have high value dick and you know how to impress it upon her the way it needs to be, it's not something that you should just be okay with just giving out to women who aren't really going to serve any purpose in your life. And that's what I essentially mean when essentially you categorize these women as friends. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys do this. You know what I'm saying? And they have their belief systems that, it ain't so bad, or even so go so far as having best friends with women. Like, I'm all okay with a few women in your life as so-called friends, but as you get older, the more mature you get, the more steady of a woman that you might get, including a wife or somebody that plays that role, like this whole friend women type of thing. If you're a high value man, if you're a man that's doing something out here, like, she wants to be more than friends most of the times. You understand what I'm saying? So, and if she's coming to you for game meaning that information or positions on the chessboard that you can make for her or help her make, if she's coming to you for that game, do you understand? It means that she values what you're giving to her, but you yourself, because you're so-called friends with her, you get what I'm saying? You're giving that game away for free, and you are not, in most cases, you're just not going to get a high ROI on that. You get what I'm saying? You're just not going to get a very high ROI on giving free game. Now, I get it. There's some guys, like myself, I've been there. I'm a generous person. I'm a giver. Of course, I'm looking to, I'm always focused on what's in it for me. But when you're dealing with women these days, what's in it for you may not come right away if there's potential. And, the game that you're supposed to be giving or dishing out to women anyways is like, it's very similar to your sexual energy. You get what I'm saying? You have semen that goes inside of a woman's body and colonizes her body and everything. You can find it in a woman's cadavers after in depth. Like, so the semen of the men that she has been with stick with her to the grave. You know what I'm saying? So being the dominant force that you are supposed to be, you're trying to colonize her mind. So your game is about that. It's not about, you should do this for yourself. Because listen, man, if you got game where you can give it to a woman and she literally improves herself with your game, and what do you get from that? Like, do you nowhere else, you don't value yourself and you don't value your game, and maybe you don't call it game, maybe you call it being a friend, and maybe you call it some other soft and sympathetic shit, but the bottom line is you don't know the value of it. And in many cases, when you have women who persistently linger around, because I guess I'm not talking about everyone. You get what I'm saying? But the average guy, or the slightly above average guy, for the most part, is going to have some stragglers that are hanging around, people who are interested in you, people who, failed relationships, they're considering you, various other things, little friends, maybe some people that you cut off and you still keep around. Me, I'm not even, the whole friendship game for me is if she's not really a real friend, and she's just some ex or somebody who's still hanging on to feelings, they have to be producing some kind of resources or tangibility to add to my life, my purpose, in order for that status of friendship to be something real. You get what I'm saying? Most of the times, these women that you're calling your friends they're not your friends. They're just not. Because most of the times, from me doing this work that I've done, just saying certain things, certain truths about women, they'll switch on you right quick. And they be the same ones that wanted to be with you 15 minutes ago. You get what I'm saying? Because when you start speaking for yourself, doing for yourself, taking a position for what matters to you the most, you'll see that once you start disagreeing with certain people, especially if they're this educated or went to this school or came from this area, the more pride and ego they have about themselves, the more willing they are to have conflict with you to defend their position. And as a man, you got to be able to assess whether, there's a lot of people in your life that may not really be on the same ground as you, but your woman can't be one of them. She can't be one of them. So any game that you're given is a part of your game to get what you need to get somebody who's going to help you further what you need to do. Now, I understand that not a lot of men consider it to be that way. You're giving free game to a woman who's going to take that game from you and then do what? Go try to get another guy, or try to teach it to another guy, or try to false boost her value in some ways. So now she believes. Come on, man. Stop doing that. Because here's another thing that, men really got to understand. All this free game you're kicking to these friendly women, you know what I'm saying, who you perhaps sleep with every 6 months, every 3 months, or whatever, but she's mostly friend. It's fucking up her relationships with the man that she's trying to bond with. Because you over there, you know what I'm saying? You over here talking all of this stuff. And let's say you are a high caliber male. You're a high caliber man, a high value man, and she loves keeping in touch with you. You get what I'm saying? Because you dropping that good free game for her that actually has her thinking all the time, I never thought about that. You know what I'm saying? And now she going back to these other dudes with your mindset. You get what I'm saying? And so now she's pegging her guy against you. And in some cases, you'll find her doing that continuously and never really developing good relationships with these other men, because sometimes in her mind, she's going to, maybe things are going to work out between you and her, because all that free game you're giving her, she values that. But if you don't value that, eventually she won't value it so much. And she'll just take your free game and eventually find herself in a situation where, the new man that she gets, if he's a dominant male, he's gonna be like, F that dude, I don't need you talking to him. And if he's high enough on the pecking order for her, she'll be like, oh, later for you. So all that time, all that game that you invested, you get what I'm saying? What that was charity work, essentially. Now, I do say that you gotta have charity work, but if you're gonna do charity work, I like the charity work to be in the form of having real great relationships with other men. You get what I'm saying? That you can build, and who can build you, who have information to share with you that helps you further your life, and vice versa. Though that's where you really want to be putting your free game. You know what I'm saying? I have people that when they call me, I make myself available to talk to them, to give them some free game, because I'm already getting paid game from a lot of people already that I'm helping. You get what I'm saying? That's to support my living or whatever the case is, but I try to do as much of that as I possibly can. But if men think that they're going to get a high return on all this free game that they're giving to these women, it's really actually, especially if you're a high value, medium value, you get what I'm saying? If you're somewhere, you're ambitious and you have a plan, you ain't got to make all that money or whatever the case is, but if you on the ball for yours, you get what I'm saying? The game that you're given is valuable. You get what I'm saying? In many cases, you may find yourself throwing that game out there to get something in return, and then when you stop getting the returns, you keep giving the game anyways. That's the real value here, because the game is indicative of wisdom, understanding, resourcefulness, masculinity. You get what I'm saying? This is how you communicate. And when I was young, I couldn't communicate the way I could communicate these days. She's not gonna not understand what I have to say these days, because my communication skills were so better. But 10 years ago, I couldn't do that. So, if you got game to give, advice to give, counsel to give, you gotta make sure that that's valued. And then you gotta make sure that this so-called friend, like, 'cause there's always a shit test with all your friendships. Because I got people where, you could talk to them and you tell them something and they're gonna listen. Like, friends listen to friends if their friends are high caliber friends. They're gonna have suggestions worthy of listening to. I say, for the most part, many men, if you have to depend on the friendship of women to get high caliber information, something is off, because it's not really that dependable. And I'm sure I know that there are a lot of brilliant women out here that are capable of giving men advice, but it doesn't really lead to the ROI that you need in your life. You get what I'm saying? Any woman who is of high value will not be on the market very long. She would not be passed around very often. You get what I'm saying? So if you're giving free game to a woman, it could be because you don't have the initiative that it takes to be like, this is what I want, this is what it's going to be. You know what I'm saying? Or don't call me no more. You know what I'm saying? If you like her, and that's the case. It's a lot of simp behavior going on in some free game, and you got good game and you just giving it out for free, and what's the return for you? Like, you can't keep doing that. You can't keep doing that. You shouldn't do that. Calling her your friend and all that. She ain't your friend, bro. She ain't your friend. And even if you get the opportunity where you are the male force in her life, doing what you got to do for her, you know what I'm saying, and playing that role as her man, you not her friend then neither. You get what I'm saying? So, like, and then now we got to go into the sexual aspects. A lot of guys are accustomed to, thinking it's nothing, the pump and dump, smash and dash, we're pretty much safe for the most part. That's what you're going to give to most of these women, because most of the women themselves are not up to a certain level, not wife material. This is what they're used to. This is the culture. The hookup culture has been around, like, it predates everybody that's like under 50. Like, it's been around. Like, the idea that it hasn't been around is some illusionary stuff. Hookup culture been around since the beginning of the time. There were some people who were going to fuck and not marry. Point blank, period. That's just how it is. So we're still in it, and a lot of men, the adjustments that we're making these days is just, I'll be a serial monogamous, so to speak. Yeah, like, try it out with you. If it doesn't work out, it's gonna be a next person real soon. Depending on your appeal and how you attract them into you. But the bottom line is if that's what you're gonna do, you don't have to really have much involvement with them, none whatsoever. But the men who actually want to conserve their energies, who actually want to, save themselves, and I'm not talking about just sexually, I'm talking about in the game as well too, but physically as well too. Like, you can't be blowing loads and depleting your life chi energy on people who are really not worth it. Like, it does eventually come to that at some point. Now, some people are going to say, okay, you know what I'm saying, it's just sex, it's just a release. Yeah, it is sex, and it's just a release. You get what I'm saying? But the abstinence within itself creates higher levels of testosterone. You get what I'm saying? So there's purpose behind doing certain things, and there's also purpose when you become focused on what you're doing. Like, you're just not going to give the free game nor the free dick to just anybody. And you shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't, none whatsoever. You should consider your whatever you have to give as finite resources, and not just arbitrarily hand it out there to get, for free, to people who are just not even gonna read it, not even gonna take interest in it, not really gonna even value it. And then sometimes you got people who read it, look into what you're giving to them. You make a great contribution to their lives or what have you, but they take it and it serves no purpose for you. Now, I'm not saying in every case you give to receive. That's not what I'm talking about. That's why I say you got to have your assigned charity cases, your family, your friends. You know what I'm saying? There are always going to be people that you're going to help off GP, off love. You got to do that. That helps you develop your emotional intelligence and various other things as well too. But then thereafter, when it comes to expending certain resources, certain, energies, that wisdom that you have, especially if you've been blessed with more than others, if you've been put in a position where you're wiser, you're smarter, you're faster, you're richer, whatever, you can use what you have, and what you have to give can benefit somebody else, then you really have to be circumspect on how you give that, as well as the emotional or the attachment that you have to giving it. So when you do give that from the charity position, when you from the good of your heart, ain't nothing wrong with that. But then when you find yourself in a relationship, or you're courting a young lady or what have you, and then you start arbitrarily just giving out the wazoo, dropping this, doing that, just trying to make and have as much impact as you possibly can. Sometimes it's just too much too soon. Sometimes she's not receptive enough to receive what you've got to give. Sometimes it's just like everything else, it takes time. You know what I'm saying? So like, you really got to consider that if you have game to give, it's worth something. And then the reason I say no free game is because of what I just said, especially when it comes to, women who will consider themselves to be your friends, or you will consider to be your friends. They're taking that information, if it's good game, and then it's either blocking their progress with another man, or, they're going to use it to get another man, and you'll be out the picture soon, and you'll be thinking to yourself, all this time that I spent talking to you, we were friends, and we were this, that, and that. No top male is gonna be wanting some random dude spitting game to his woman consistently. She gonna have to sneak and talk to you in some cases just to keep that up, and then that's gonna lower your credibility, and you're not gonna be in the position that you want to be from all this free game. Like, if you can't go, if you can't go or don't feel comfortable going to her wedding, meeting her husband, and all those different type of things, like, you shouldn't be even talking to this woman. You get what I'm saying? You shouldn't be getting no free game. She got a man. Let her man give her that free game. Let her man's wisdom pick her up and take her to higher heights. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's how you kind of got to view what you have to give these days. Unless, like I said, it's a charity situation. It's one of those situations where you just giving free love. You got to do that. Maybe you mentor children in the community. Like, I did farms and school projects for years. Just that was my way of showing love in my community. I built farms. I did them in schools. I worked. I taught people. I did a lot of that shit for free, and I did it with younger children because I wanted to give back. And that's just a part of who you become when you know that you have something to share with the world. You have to value it. You have to value it. And because these days the women would tell you straight up, they'll tell you straight up that most of the guys that they've been with is just primarily was some kind of sexual fling or some superficial thing. You get what I'm saying? And the last relationship was what? Was dysfunctional, not very operational. You get what I'm saying? So the truth is, a lot of the men that she was dealing with, they had a certain type of game that didn't advance her, didn't improve her odds. She got with him and she learned this, that, and that, but she didn't learn how to get better. She didn't become a better woman, because that's what a man with some game can do for a woman. She becomes a better woman. If you have it in you, like, if you have that kind of wisdom, that kind of intelligence, that kind of know-how, that kind of training, you make her a better woman. And so your game has the potential of doing that with the men that you deal with. That's your network. Whatever your game is indicative of what you're good at. You know what I'm saying? Where you excel at. And you try your best to share that with everyone, so that way everyone can feel some of that energy. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to the women that you choose to share it with, you might be wasting your time if you're just out here jaw-jacking trying to help her solve all her problems. You're like her default man, but you're getting none of the benefits of being her man. bro. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it these days. And the way things are going these days, like women are going to have to, some women are going to have to, especially the unmarriageable type women, they're going to have to rely on a committee of men, so to speak, to be able, especially if things get worse. They don't want things to get worse. No, they don't. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to. They don't want things to be in a position where they have to be dependent on men again. They're hoping that society never dishes out the raw deal like other societies in the world have had to go through, where men and women have to stay together. They don't want that. A lot of women do not want that. They want the ability to be independent. And so if they're ever placed in a position where codependency, in the sense of survival and doing what's best for each other, like, you got a lot of people who are going to be screwed, frankly. You get what I'm saying? And this is as real as it gets, because a lot of people, a lot of men, a lot of women, we're used to this committee kind of relationship thing. Everybody's been with everybody. You get what I'm saying? And everybody expects to move on from the other person and not do anything substantial, not build anything substantial, because guess what? To build anything substantial with anyone is going to require humility. It's going to require growth. With growth, there's always going to be pain, and every person is not worth going through certain pains with. So it's like your free game, you know what I'm saying, it can be much better utilized with somebody who's going to come into your life and play the role that you want them to play. Especially something that could be long term. You don't want to be like, listen, if they don't value it because they value money, because they value, societal things, and they value these ideals that they want to chase, everybody's got some of those. But if they don't value what you have to give, you can't give it away for free. Even if they don't value, you still can't give it away for free, because it takes from your resources. It takes from your consideration. It takes from you can be giving that to somebody else. You get what I'm saying? And when it comes to like the free dick thing, like, listen, I'm sure that there's some women and some opportunities to sleep with some great, beautiful, great opportunity type of women. I'm sure, but for the most part, the easiest lays are not necessarily going to be the ones that come in and enhance who you are as a man. You know what I'm saying? So like, perhaps you get something, it's not so easy to just smash a 10. So most of the times, the easiest things that you're going to get are between the 6 to 7 ratio. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to consider whether that's even worth it when it's all said and done. You get what I'm saying? You really do. Because that's your energy resources as well too. And when you start going in pretty heavy, it takes a lot of your time just to be putting in that work, unless you're mediocre. If you're mediocre and you're just bing, bang, bing and done, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's on you. It probably don't take much time, but it does take resources from your body. If you're not eating and taking care of yourself, free dick being handed out to disloyal, treasonous women who will turn on you whenever it's convenient for them, like, why? Why are you giving her all that copper, chromium, and magnesium and some proteins that help synthesize her body? Why are you giving all that to her? You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be. She ain't worth it. You get what I'm saying? And if you find yourself, doing that to women who they're not healthy enough to receive you, bro, like, hey man, you just kind of got to give it up. Like, can't give that free dick out like that. You got to be very selective. Every man has to get to a point of selectivity where he chooses who comes into him, and he has the options. So he's not necessarily just settling for whoever is gonna give it up faster or soonest. You can be strategic about who you're gonna lay with and what the purpose of that is. Like, people are just like, the sex game, the way it is, it's just not a high value return these days. So like, you're not really missing out on much if you decide that you're not gonna, just be out here sleeping with everybody. It increases your value. So that means that if you do find yourself with a woman who seems up on par, you gotta let her know, listen, I could be out here smashing and dashing on a whole bunch of other little ladies, some that you probably even know. You get what I'm saying? But I'm giving you a level of exclusivity, and this is what I'm looking for in return for this. It's not just free. Especially a lot of you guys have been working and doing the work on yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, you read my book, you took a break, you had some training in your life, you trying to get your shit together. I understand sometimes you might be restarting and redoing things and have starting over. Sometimes it's like that. But if you took your time to really gather yourself where you're in, not just in a good space physically or by looking good and appealing to women, but all around. You know what I'm saying? Your happiness is higher than your sadness. If you've taken the time to do that, like, the last thing you want to do is just fall back into some kind of pussy trap. You know, because the validation cycle begins again. And once the validation cycle begins again, what ends up happening is that you start coming off your square. And your square was what you established, your foundation was what you established when you were on your own. Like I say in my book, Taking a Break from Relationships. When you were doing that, when you were healing, when you were going in the gym. You know, like the things that I talk about the essential needs, like, no matter what people say, man, like, you can't be jaw-jacking and texting with these women when you focused on you. You know, when you're really trying to go from zero to somewhere. You know, or even when you're like when you're in the negative, even less time you got to be talking, texting, and doing meaningless flirting that leads nowhere. The only type of flirting you should be doing in those cases is closed-end flirting. I talk about this in the book, where if you see women in the area that areas that you frequent, you go to certain stores, you see beautiful women there, of course you should always make yourself seen, you know what I'm saying, even say something to them or whatever the case, but you know you ain't got no time for them anyways. You're not trying to close the deal, you're just trying to engage yourself, get some oxytocin, some dopamine levels running, you know, some testosterone kicked up a little bit. That's what it does. You're not turned off to women. You want to engage in them, you want to be in their presence, all that fly shit, but you're not going to waste no time on them. You're not going to be texting, calling, boo-hooing on the phone with them and doing extra shit. You're not giving that to nobody, because the time that you have right now is really about healing, repairing, you know, deciding, choosing, you know, going on that purpose path for the purpose of building yourself. And, you know, a lot of guys, you know, and when I first wrote my book like many years ago, people were like, how long am I supposed to do this for? I'm like, as long as it's necessary. I mean, just think about if you were being prepared since you were 13 or 14 years old to be the man that you are right now. How further would you be versus now discovering yourself, let's say at 22, 25, or 35? You done missed 20 years of game because nobody prepared you. So that means that you got that much more time to really work on who you're supposed to be, that you need to devote that time to, versus arbitrarily, like, on this pendulum with these women trying to give energy to them. Like, if it's not easy for you to give the game and for her to receive the game and for her to make adjustments to the game, don't give the game. And that game is only going to come from, like I said, the development that you put in on your time off, or the development that you've had your whole entire life leading to where you are. But the development that you put in on your time off benefits your life's purpose and motivates and moves you, you know what I'm saying, towards your life's purpose. And that within itself becomes a vehicle of attraction for most women. The fact that you are doing what you're doing, for the fact that you are confident in it, for the fact that you are known in it, the fact that you are recognized in it, the fact that your resume looks the way it does because of this time that you've put into yourself. That makes you more attractive regardless of how much money you make, regardless of where you live, regardless of, you know, what's popping on social media or not. You get what I'm saying? You as a man just have to get there first, and you're not going to get there by bleeding free game to women who won't commit to you, who won't help you build. That free game is resources that could be better used for people who will literally help you build. And this is even more important for a lot of the entrepreneur guys like myself. You know, your time is not constricted so much so like by a job or by the confines of, you know, let's say 7 or 8 or 12 hours a day. So that means that the more time you put into your stuff, the further along you're gonna get. So if you're taking your time and giving it to somebody who will never turn around and give you back anything equivalent to that, that's your game, and you're giving her free dick as well too. loading her up, gotten her feeling good. She's getting thicker now. Everybody's saying she glowing. You get what I'm saying? And you don't have no idea for what the ROI on her looks like? And then now you're risking time and taking away from your shit that you should be on? It's not a good plan, fellas. It's not a good plan. It's never a good idea. You know, you're not her friend. You're going to have very few female friends. I said this in my book, and I've said this over and over. You know, you gotta have men in your corner to help you build, to help you decide. Like, even if it's, you don't call them that often, you know, you gotta have those people in your corner to help you do things. You can't be dependent on women for company, and then all of a sudden you're asking her about some major decision in your life. Nah, bro. That change your friend, bro. And that's the thing. Another thing too. A lot of guys and people, women in general, they say to themselves, you know, you can fall in love with your friend, or like, I don't buy that so much. You get what I'm saying? I feel like good compatibility, good chemistry, that's why I do the work that I do, you know what I'm saying, with the human design and determining compatibility with you and other people, you know, and it's because, like, you're gonna have good energy, good vibes that between some people that just flows. You ain't gotta be so-called friends, because the truth is, if I consider my friend that I've known for 20 years, that, you know, we slept on couches in cars and do all kind of crazy stuff together, came up together, watch me grow, how I watch him grow. Like, that's what a friend is. The new woman that you meet and you start talking to her, she ain't never gonna be your friend. She ain't never gonna understand you the way your friend does, even if you spend the next 40 years with her. You get what I'm saying? Because it all depends on when you're meeting her. Now, maybe if you met her in your teenage years and whatever the case is, you could be friend or whatever. But all these new relationships that people are trying to build off friendships, it's nice, it's sweet. There's some exceptions, of course, but most of the times, she ain't your friend, especially if you're older than her, especially if you're more mature than her, especially if you come from different backgrounds than her. You know, if you, cause ask her who her freaking friends are. Are you like any of them? I'm sure y'all are vastly different. She wants to keep you as a friend in some cases so that way you could treat her like your friend. She can get privy to certain information, privy to certain game, and then there's no power dynamic. We're on equals. Me and my friends are on equals. We've been around long each other. We may not be on equals in certain things, but we treat each other like equals. You know, like that's something that you give to your friend. You don't give that to just everybody. So that's why I'm saying, like, a lot of these women are not your friend. It's just your desires in some cases to be with her, and you settling for less than her best because she's choosing to be with somebody else, or she's having a hot girl summer. She's not focused on you right now. Some shit like that. A lot of people accept those relationships from women and consider that a friendship. It's not. You're simping. Like, it's not your friend. She's not your friend. If you're giving high value game and she calls you during the hard times, like, she probably should be paying for a session. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, something's wrong with if you have good information, good intel, good game, good wisdom, and you can't share that with other people. You know what I'm saying? And you're just sharing with somebody who's not going to invest in you, who's not going to try to see you. Nah, don't do it. Don't do it. And all of that giving away, you know, easy come up, easy sex is one of the easiest ways to get caught up. So, like, you don't want to be putting out your physical resources into situations that give you a low ROI neither. Because women themselves, a huge part of their ROI is you. You get what I'm saying? Did she buy a blue chip stock? You know, or a year 2000 tech stock? You get what I'm saying? Like, or a mining stock. You know, like, she knows what's in it for her unless you are a fraud. Or unless you literally fall apart. She's gonna know, she knows what's in it for her when she chooses you. You get what I'm saying? And then it's easy for her to determine what's in it for her as well when you know what you're doing in your life. You're already serving your life's purpose. You're already doing these things that you're supposed to be doing. You're already in touch. You might get a little distracted by her, like all men are. I don't know any man, married or single, who entertains women who's not distracted by them at some point. But you got a focal point. You got a straight line of which you can return to. It's important to have that, because without that, then you just go drifting, and that's when you start seeking validation. And that's why that personal self-building game is so important before you do anything. And mind you, if I hadn't said it already, if y'all have read the book, Heart on Break, my book, please go ahead and leave a review of that on Amazon. Trying to get those numbers up over there. I appreciate all the love and all the support over the years. And it's Friday night. I know y'all doing other shit. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to drop that on you. Like, you got to become more circumspect. If your value is high, guy, you can't just be dishing it out and doling it out. And then when you are dishing it out and doling it out, you have to be doing it with an ROI in mind. Sometimes there's a risk involved, just like in everything else. All assets are at risk when you're doing certain things, right? But the same thing in relationships. But you got to know how and have the proper courting skills and tools and knowledge and comfort in your own self and knowledge of self. You know what I'm saying? Like confidence, all those things. You got to have that, so that way you can base what's worth taking that risk. Because anytime you're giving your wisdom, every time you're giving your love, because your love matters. Depending on who you are, some of the women sense your love and energy and are looking to get that for free. I know some guys, you could look at them and the women, you can already tell that's a caring person. And you can already know that some of these women who've never had a man care for her are going to go to that guy because he is very caring. Because he looks like that. And what is he going to get in return? Perhaps he's never had a chick like her interested in him. Or perhaps all the chicks that he's had before, they never did what she could do on top of him. You get what I'm saying? He might sign up to get played. He might sign up to give away his resources and dick for free. You get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, those are all losing situations. You can't just arbitrarily do it. The dating pool sucks. People complaining a whole bunch about the dating pool, but they still out there having sex with these people, which is just continuing to pollute the pool, because you ain't gonna have sex with her for long in most cases. You get what I'm saying? Like in most cases, like we're in a situation where people are constantly just being passed around, like it's like serial monogamy. Like I said, it's not a bad deal because if you're at a certain level and you actually challenge women and vice versa to step their game up when like that's 3 to 6 months right there. Because within 3 to 6 months, you're gonna know whether she's gonna rise to the occasion with you or she gonna straddle out and burn out. Maybe just become somebody you hit up every so often or whatever the case is, and only because you know her and you had a little something where you let her get something. You get what I'm saying? But most of the times, the best move is to eliminate them completely. But that burns out within 3 to 6 months. It burns out within 3 to 6 months if you're talking about people, exactly, bro. Like STDs as well too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's another reason. I ain't even mentioned STDs as far as a reason to not be giving out the free day. I'm talking about saving your energies, saving your resources, because once you start doling out the dick to these women, like your time goes into that too, because you think about them a whole lot more. Like you can play stoic all you want. Let it be some good stuff too. You're gonna want that. Let you be like me over here taking your supplements and all that fly shit, and your energy's on 10. You know what I'm saying? These herbs that I take. You dig? Like you're gonna want that. So like if you digging off in the wrong person, it's like that's not gonna give you the returns that you're looking for. Big up yourself, man. Hydration music. Shout outs to everybody joining the night. I appreciate y'all spending your Friday nights with me. But this is essential, man. This is essential. This is stuff that I didn't know. Like when I was young and dumb, you get what I'm saying? Like putting people up in your houses, getting them homes and shit like that. Like sharing your resources. Like, oh, it's nothing, baby. You got it. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a gentleman. I never stopped to ask if anybody ever in her life ever did that, including her father, and the answer was no. You get what I'm saying? So like when somebody is getting free game, you know what I'm saying, free dick that they probably never had before, especially if you got that superior dick, you dig? If you get, please, it's 2 responses they're gonna have. It's one, God damn it, I don't deserve this, and they're gonna self-sabotage this motherfucker soon enough. And that's real shit, right? Or their ego is gonna have a response and somehow try to compete with you for power to try to control you. Is usually that. But if you giving off a whole lot of stuff that person is not accustomed to, there's going to be like this 90-day probation, so to speak, of time where she has to learn, you have to learn, you have to determine, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm not gonna just I'm looking for something where I get my ROI. I'm not looking just to be out here, come into your life, give you some game, then that you move along and you happily ever after, or whatever the case is, and you calling me every now and then when you got little issues, when you got life stuff and fuck out of here, man. I know it strokes a lot of men's egos. Unless you've had that, like I have in my earlier years, I'm happy not to do none of that shit. Matter of fact, I'm happy a lot of the women see me these days and don't want to say shit to me. You get what I'm saying? They, like, hey, not hurting me, I'm good. You get what I'm saying? I got my support system. Is y'all women out here who are having a hard time finding men who are supportive, loving, you know what I'm saying, financially stable, and all of the 500 things that you want them to be. You get what I'm saying? That's on them. So when they do find a guy who's worth his salt, you get what I'm saying? They want to keep him around, and they want to keep him around in some cases as a platonic friend, and that's why I'm saying you don't do that. That's that platonic friendship is giving of game. Now you giving her intel that other people got to pay for. You get what I'm saying? All that energy that you exert from your job and from your profession and the things that you're really, really good at, you giving it to her for what? For her to flake on you whenever she chooses? And that comes with courting. That comes with understanding, because like I said before, if the game that you're giving her is not molding and making it easier for her to receive you, to adjust to you, to become your woman, not some other dude's woman. You get what I'm saying? If your game is not for the purpose of serving that, like, you just like wasting money. You just like wasting your energy, because your game and your energy, your wisdom is your truest currency. Use your truest currency. So you just like, doing stuff for no compensation. And if you're that type of person, listen, there's a lot of people like that. There is. And like I said, I felt like I was prone to be that type of guy, because like, my father's a giving person, so I grew up with a man who likes to give and doesn't mind doing all this stuff. So it's kind of second nature for me. But like, when it came to relationships, like, nah. I realized early in the game, like, you're gonna do stuff for a woman you marry, and you're gonna do a little bit extra shit for a woman you have children with. Because if you're that type of dude, you're gonna want to step your game up and be and give as much as you possibly can. But at some point, if that person, whether wife, girlfriend, or child's mother, co-parent, if they're not receiving that, or if they're just using it selfishly, because that's the thing, you can give free game to a woman and she just use it selfishly. She may not even decide that she want to be with no other man, but she depends on the free game that you're giving her to make her decisions in life. And then based on your free game now, she's making better decisions. Oh, what a coincidence. She's going to take all the credit for that though, right? Why? Because you're giving it her for free. But that other person, that therapist, or that other person that she needs to see that she has to pay for, oh, my therapist said this, that, and that. You know what I'm saying? She's not going to ever talk about that free game you're giving her. She's going to internalize that as her. And you'll hear her telling you, this is an easy test. You'll hear her telling you the free game that you told her, like, yeah, I was just thinking, we should buy this, that, and that, and do this, that, and that. I think it's the best thing to do. And you're like, where did you get that from? You don't say you don't cite your references? You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, that's what happens when you give it to her for free, because she's looking to use it for herself. That's what I'm talking about with ROI, fellas. That's what I'm talking about. She's not actively building anything or returning anything to you. You get what I'm saying? That indicates that she's down for your cause. Come on, man. What's going on, family? See y'all out here on the text. business? Man, I'd say if the business builds you, you get what I'm saying? Then, make it work. Make it work the best that you can. You get what I'm saying? Like, because that means that you're getting something in return for the game that you're giving. So whether that game is web design, graphic design, or, you know what I'm saying, welding, whatever, like, when you're talking to other people, you gotta be getting something in return, and that's male or female. But what I mean also is like no free game to women you like that you can't be with. Fuck your like. If you can't be with her, no free game. If you can't get her, no free game. What's going on, family? Yeah, man. I didn't smash, but we're business partners. Hey, sometimes, listen, I used to do a little thing when I was a photographer with the women where I keep them around and purposely never smash. And so the other women will look and think that you're smashing, and it just attract other ones. So like it was always a business play. You get what I'm saying? And if she likes you, I'll even play it along for a little while and see how many friends that I can get at a cost of something. Just come through, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I do it for free. Like I do it for free on the front end, and I get paid every time on the back end. Always got paid. And I found that to be much more beneficial or profitable than just letting everybody get some. You get what I'm saying? Because they chose you. You use, like women can serve a purpose, but that's pimping. You get what I'm saying? And there's levels to it, but that's pimping. And you should be able to do that especially if you're not getting much in return. Like you're not getting a wife. Like some of these women that a lot of guys are investing a lot of free game and and blowing loads on, you're not getting much in return. So you might as well set it up for some business. You might as well get paid. That's how I look at it. And that's key, Matt. That's key. Don't let them be your business, but it's not that. What's key is not putting a woman in a position where she can sabotage anything that you've got going on. You get what I'm saying? Like your foundation should be solid enough without her. And I get it that sometimes we're rebuilding and sometimes we're starting over, and she comes in and plays a major role. But that's what you would prefer. At least she coming in to play a major role to help you. And then you have to share certain things. That's fine. You're getting the help you need. You're still the talent. You're still doing what you need to do to get where you need to be with or without her. So like, you know what I'm saying? It depends on your position, but if you can, build yourself first and build yourself to the point where, like you're good. And not necessarily that you need her help, but like who wants a woman who can't help him? And I get it that sex and affection and emotions are always going to be major things that you're looking for. And some of us have a higher need for sex and emotions and companionship. You get what I'm saying? But those of us who are somewhere in the balance line, you got to understand that you're still trying to build yourself. You're still trying to build yourself. Like if you're not fully built, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, Val Johnson, like if you're not in a position to even have children and you're doing certain stuff, man, like that puts you like, you're one nut away from poverty sometimes. You get what I'm saying? Like me and my stupidness, I've lost a house being too caught up in relationships. You feel what I'm saying? Because I'm not focused on what I was supposed to be focused. I'm chasing around this, had a child in a situation, and that person wasn't here to help me keep my assets. They didn't give a fuck. They were only concerned about themselves. So like you getting in a position in life where if you don't solidify what's for you and you find yourself in a relationship that distracts you from it, like you could lose major. Now listen, if your pimping is strong and you can get a woman to be fully beneficial to you in whatever stage that you're at, listen, more power to you, bro. Because that means that you're skilled enough to get what you need. You get what I'm saying? Appreciate that, Val. Yeah, man. I'm glad you got the book. Make sure you leave a review for your boy, man. I'm trying to get as much of those as possible on Amazon or on my Facebook Heart on Break page. But yeah, man. We got to be circumspect. If you're, like I always tell people, and like I said in the book, if your purpose is not accomplished at this present moment, that's all the reason to put women on break. That's all the reason to not have these relationships. It's all the reason to not have all this sex. It's all the reason to really go inside and focus on finding that purpose, or if you've already found it, get on the road to accomplishing it. I'm telling you, because women, like a lot of dudes, we're heavily dependent on women believing in us. And yeah, it's nice and it's straight and it's beautiful when they do. It's so encouraging. It is. It's some beautiful shit when you can believe in something, conceptualize something, plan something, and a woman be a part of it and help you accomplish it. But the truth is, the average woman is not doing that with no man. Maybe the above average woman, and the woman who's more likely to be married, and even her, she's going to struggle, especially if she's of the independent mindset coming from a broken family of some sort. But your levels is what's going to carry her in that partnership, because that's why I talk about all the time. Like, listen, man, it ain't nothing like having a woman that you can depend on to play a role that you assigned her to play, not some role that she got out the fucking air, or she's imitating on TV. Nah, babes, these are my needs. So this will never be free dick, because you giving something and you getting back exactly what you want and need. You're just not really going to get that very easily with these women. So be as circumspect as you possibly can. Protect your best interest. Because other than that, trust me, when you stop answering the calls, when you stop texting, when you stop calling, when you stop liking their pictures on Facebook and Instagram, you know what I'm saying? When you stop doing that, there will be a lot of fucking loneliness. It's going to be you and your work. And then in between that work is going to be your passions and your purpose. And then your passions and your purpose have to get strong enough to become your work. And then it has to get strong enough to become the vehicle of your compensation. Those are all processes that most of the times, no matter how much she loves you and how well she sexes you, she takes away from those processes. A woman has to be truly fucking skilled at listening, which most women aren't, because I look at my daughter at 8 years old. When I say something, she does it. When I'm observing her and her mother's relationship, she gotta ask her 2 or 3 or 4 times. So girls learn how to ignore their mothers. But so these are all a part of conditioning, and mothers themselves, they ignore people. So they ignore men. That's why they end up single mothers most of the times. You get what I'm saying? So what do you think is going to happen? The children are going to inherit that same behavior. So one of the things I notice is that they know this from a child. You get what I'm saying? So they're going to be trying to ignore everything that you said, and you have to have something within you that literally says you can't ignore what the fuck I'm talking about, or what I'm asking for, or what you know what I'm saying? And if she's that type of woman who's never had a fatherly figure or any kind of figure that she has had to respect, she's gonna try to ignore it. She's gonna try to skate around the rules. She's gonna try to have things her way. It's a matter of if you allow it. Because then sometimes you might think that you're building and you're investing in it. Nah, she about to be a rebel. She don't have no instances in her life of where she couldn't even listen to her father or her parents. You get what I'm saying? She ain't listening to you. She's gonna listen as long as it feels good, until it's time for you to get rid of her, or for her to get rid of herself. That's how it is. It takes discipline for a woman to really be on your side, to be on your team. It's something. That's why, like I said, I use my daughter as an example, because from this very age, I try to instill things so she could learn how to follow instructions. Stuff like go upstairs, look in the third drawer, in the back, there's a blue coin, take the blue coin out, not the red coin, not the green coin, the blue coin, and bring it to me. You get what I'm saying? She has to go through a sequence of processes and of events that challenges her mind to follow instruction. Now she's a child, of course, but that's where it starts. You got grown ass women at 35 years old that only instructions that they can follow are the ones that keeps their job. Oh man. Hey man, the ladies man stuff, it always backfires, man. Always backfires. Always. Listen man, if you don't build yourself, like there's just too many pitfalls. Just too many. Just absolutely too many pitfalls to fall into, because these traps have been set for us men already, bro. And then in some cases your father wasn't there, and if he was there, he either beat you or was a drunk or paid no attention to you. You know what I'm saying? You know, and then your mother, she had to be thrown out in the workforce like, you know what I'm saying, like a slave. So she didn't get much time to mother you with, except for 2 hours a day and on the weekends. Like, we're all at a disadvantage just by where society is. So the more trauma and the more obstacles in the way, the harder it is for you to become the man that you're supposed to be. So like, that's why the break is so important. That's why personal development is so important. That's why not ducking off in these women for too long, staying longer than you're supposed to, is so important. Because like, when you have more to offer than just money and resources, or even if that's a part of the package, everything like, listen, you ever seen a woman you know, find herself listening to a guy or dating a guy, and let's say this guy has money, but he's dumb as shit. Look, like, I don't care what you say. I've seen those situations. He a dumbass. He ain't got no goddamn sense, but he got money, and so she's listening to his ass. So he gonna tell her to do some dumb shit, as well as set her expectations to some dumb and slightly unrealistic shit, and that's only gonna be precipitated by the fact that he has money, he's paying for something, and he has some clout. So, like, you know, like, the influence matters. You know what I'm saying? The influence matters. The level matters. The experience matters. So once you've developed yourself to a certain level, it doesn't matter how much money you got. It does matter the game that you have. If you can come in and heal, if you can come in and correct, if you can come in and direct, if you can come in and support, these are intangibles. Because guess what? The average woman these days, even if she ain't much, she can hold a job, or she has a job. She's gonna get some kind of economic opportunities or benefits from society. You know what I'm saying? You dig? Shout outs to you, Visual Evasion. Appreciate that as well. You know? But you gotta understand it. You gotta understand it. Once you've cultivated something that's valuable, don't give it away for free, man. Don't sink it off. Don't sink it off. Don't ever get in a position where you're giving it and you're not getting precisely what you want in return. I'm not saying you get it right away, because like I said, the game that you're giving also has the ability to basically shape or influence the outcome you want. So if you start giving that game and giving that and investing in time, and you're keeping in mind that she can have a job, she can go there, she got her own money, she don't need me, but she needs me. Why? Because I got intangibles. You know what I'm saying? And I'm resourceful. So that means I have resources to share. So it's important for you to have these other dimensions, which truly makes you irreplaceable. But you ain't gonna get there, you know, it's haphazardly. You don't. You get there by being developed. You get there by being dedicated. You get there by being really focused on what it is that is there for you. And this is what I show men in my coaching sessions all the time. Like, everybody, I use the human design system, and if you ever get a chance, definitely go check out one of the human design chart sites where you can get it for free. You gotta have your DOB, city, and time. But it shows you where your talents are. It shows you where your strong energies are. And in many cases, you already knew. It's just about how you use it. It really is like these years that you missed of developing yourself. The next few years of your life, if you're just discovering yourself, should be hyper focused on your life's purpose, on knowing yourself. Because once you do know yourself, man, it becomes so much easier to give of yourself, as well as one's not just knowing who you are, but knowing what you want. Like, nah, babes, I'm sorry, I don't want that. I'm not gonna settle for that. You get what I'm saying? I'm not with it. Like, I'm straight. We good. Knowing yourself well enough, because when you don't know yourself, you'll be like, you know, it ain't so bad. Like, maybe we can. And then what? You sign a bum contract. Scottie Pippen, 98. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to do that. You get what I'm saying? Well, 98, I guess, is the year he got the new contract, but he signed that bad contract based on, fear. You get what I'm saying? That, of his value, of his worth, fear. Sign a bad contract. Don't sign bad contracts. Don't invest in women who won't give you the value that you're looking for. Just don't do it. No free game, no free dick. She's not your friend. She's not your friend. Make her into something else. You know what I'm saying? Get some dividends, you know what I'm saying, from it. Improve your life. Go further along on your life's purpose. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have that, like I said, it's just gonna be hard for her to literally come in and be of help, because you don't even know what you want. You haven't secured for yourself what you want. She can't help you if you haven't done that. You get what I'm saying? She can't. So, I'll let y'all know I got my 30-day self-mastery course. We got some re-enrollment coming up for next month's course. We're on the third week this Sunday. You can also click the link in my bio, my link tree, and check out my coaching sessions as well too. This is metaphysics, fellas. You know what I'm saying? The ancient ancestors who navigated the earth through stars and constellations, like they knew something that you don't about themselves. And there's so much greater to know. But learning how to discover yourself and show up as yourself, operate as yourself, overcome, the shadow side of yourself. Understand, your energies. Like, that's key, man. That's key. Like, I like when I wrote my book, the amount of people who literally were just like, how do I find my purpose? I didn't think that my experience alone was going to be applicable to the amount of people who were asking. So that's why I decided to incorporate some of this into my coaching, because a lot of people, and a lot of men in particular, at first, it's all about these failed relationships that don't work. They're trying to fix what he thinks will appeal more to women or will give him better results with women. When in truly, he's got to really learn how to identify himself, be himself, so that way his authentic self can now be the attraction point. And since most of us just never had that from a young age, learning how to develop that, sometimes it's underneath all of the ego, sometimes it's underneath who you think you are, sometimes it's there, and all it needs is a little revelation, a little stirring to come out, and you start paying more attention to it. But either way, it's going to be hard, because most of us have been programmed, socialized to be somebody that we're not. So this self-work, this self-study, understanding your energy, because like when I first started, tried astrology, it was cool and everything, gave me a lot of insight, but the way that you got to keep up with it wasn't really helping me on a daily basis, on an everyday basis, really understand myself better. Human design certainly does, because it's giving me a strategy on how to operate to my best interest. And trust me, the people that I work with, they can tell you, you know what I'm saying, like if they do it and if they understand and they take time to understand who they are, like nothing but goodness comes out of it. And then the relationships, man, they sail, bro. They sail. I mean, they don't sail like smooth sailing. There's always gonna be some fucking rough storms. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that it's excludes that. Yeah, man. The book, it's on Amazon Kindle. You can get the ebook on Amazon for sure, bro. You dig? So yeah, I mean, the self-discovery process really comes first. The time, the dedication, the energy that you put in that precipitates a lot of things thereafter. That's when the blessings come in thereafter. Especially with the relationships. So that's it, fellas, man. Keep doing your thing. Keep staying motivated. If you're building your value, build your value. You know what I'm saying? Don't leak it out. Through really waste of time relationships with women. She's not your friend. She's gonna use your game and get another man, or she's gonna use your game and not get another man, be lingering in your life forever, and it's really not all that cool. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? She should have been doing whatever she needed to do to be your woman from all that game that you had given her. So all that game you had given her should have made her want to cleave underneath you and be with you. And if it's not making her want to do that, do not give it to her. Do not give it to her. Plain and simple. Appreciate that, St. Louis Ray. Hope everything good for you over there, bro. You know, but don't give it to her. If your game is not bringing her closer to you, not just calling you, because sometimes I've been there, the game that you're spitting, you know, has her calling you back and calling you back, but it's not closing the deal. I was in corporate sales. Like, I don't want to be talking to no client 10, 15 times and not close the deal. I'll talk to you up to 10 times. After that, I'm looking to close the deal, and you got to be showing me closing the deal signs by about the 5th, 6th. You get what I'm saying? Even though I'm going to go all the way to the 10th, because I'm trying to close the deal hard. I'm trying to close the deal as soon as possible, right? So that's what your game is for. And if you got game, like say in these cases, I already assessed the client's entire business. I know how I can help him. I know how I can help their business. I know what I can do for them. I'm presenting it to them as such in exchange for this contract you sign right here and this amount monthly. Your woman is the same, bro. Woman is the same. You know, if you can't get her to sign the contract of which you explain everything in detail, stop wasting your time. Anyways, y'all take it easy, man. Y'all have a good Friday night. Peace.